Greetings. Today in this presentation I'm going to talk to you about academic summaries. An academic summary is super important in academic writing and in school. They're really just an important writing strategy, probably the fundamental thing that all researchers need to learn in the beginning. A summary is a condensed version of the original source. Simple as that. There are lots of different things you can make a summary of. You could make a summary of a novel, an article, a movie, a song, a painting. There's so many different things you can summarize. You can't even list them all here. And then a summary could also be done of only a part of something. So you could do a chapter out of a book, a subsection of an article, or you could do a single paragraph from your source. You could also imagine, for example, if there's an idea in the text, like if you have a whole book-length treatment of something, and you just wanted to talk about one of the ideas in that book, you could summarize just what that author says about that particular idea. We use summaries in a number of ways in the academic world. One way that we use them is to help readers decide if they want to read the original source. Almost all academic articles now come with something called an abstract or a summary. Usually the summaries are written by someone other than the author, so they certainly don't substitute for reading the original source. You can't read the summary and then quote that. But they can be a good way for you to decide whether you want to commit to reading 20 pages or 100 pages or 300 pages from that original source, because they can help you know kind of what's in there. They also are used to describe the author's main points. They can be used to present the author's thesis, reason, and evidence in a condensed form so that you can either use that person's argument to support your thinking in your writing, or you could use that person's argument to take issues with that author's idea. Either way, we need to have a good, clear, condensed summary before you use it for support or you take issue with the author. When we write a summary, we must suspend all of our disbelief and our feelings and play what we call the believing game. In this believing game, you should be acting like a reporter. You need to tell me just the facts of the article and not put your opinion in at all. You need to remain unbiased. This is important because it demonstrates that you have completely understood the original source, and that is important. And it also shows respect to that writer, that you've taken the time to faithfully record his or her ideas. Consider this. Wouldn't you, as a writer, want to have your readers respect you enough to truly understand what you were trying to say before they responded to it? And then finally, it gives your writing an integrity, what the Greeks called ethos, which is ethics. It makes you believable as a writer. If someone's reading your piece, they're more likely to trust you if they perceive that you are fair and even-handed and that you are unbiased. It's truly important to play the believing game when you're writing a summary. When you're preparing to write a summary, it's important to read the original source carefully. That's crucial. You should read the source once really quick to kind of get the picture, the big picture. You should say to yourself when you're finished reading it, what was this all about? What do I understand about this source? And then after that, you read it a second time slowly and write a bulleted list, 1 or 2 bullets for every paragraph, describing what that paragraph offers. Tell me what that paragraph says. Just quick bullets. They don't have to be complete sentences at this point. Just what does each paragraph say? Then you need to be really careful to organize your ideas in your summary. Sometimes your source is not very organized. And if that's the case, you need to reorganize it so that your reader gets your summary in a clear and concise way. Remember, your reader isn't necessarily looking at the original and saying, oh, I see why their summary is so disorganized. Remember that the summary is you writing. So make sure that you organize. I like to do a T1, 2, 3, and I put 4, 5, 6 in case the original source had more points that I wanted to summarize. But I do a T1, 2, 3 when I get started on this. If you write your summary off of the T1, 2, 3, your summary will be very organized. Think of it like this. You write the thesis down, You write the first reason that they believe that down. You write some evidence for it, the next reason. Do you see how each one becomes a sentence in your summary, and your summary is suddenly pretty substantial? Some source documents are not written very organized, so this will help your reader to not feel confused and meander around as they read your summary. Here's an example from the Green article that I've been working on as for class. Here's an example of the T123, and actually I put T1234 because I wanted to add where Green concedes that science is used to solve larger problems in society. But he argues that science education fails to give students a true understanding of science. Science is a process of transformation. Science is a tool for discovery, and science education focuses too much on technical details. Those are the big picture ideas from Green's article. Once you have written that simple T123, you need to start putting some meat on that thing. And what I like to see you do is to go in and find evidence for each of the points that you have brought forward. So each of your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, find at least 1 to 2 pieces of evidence that the author has given for his or her point, and then put that into your T123 and make it what we call a T123 expanded. Here's an example of the T123 where I have gone ahead and added some of the subpoints that Green offered into the T123. Notice that we have the main point, but then I pulled a quote. We have the main point that science is a process for transformation, but then I pulled a quote out of the original article that proves that is his evidence for that, or that is what he's talking about. Science is a way of life. Science is a perspective. Science is a process that takes us from confusion to understanding in a manner that is precise, predictive, reliable, and a transformation. Science is a tool for discovery. So I went through that and I found subpoints for each area. Now see how if you take, and even if you turned all of these into sentences just like this, it would be a good sort of beginning summary. When you write, use your T123 expanded and move through it, writing off of your T123. Basically turn each section into a sentence or 2 or 3 sentences. Always write summaries in the traditional way. This means you should identify the source, identify the creator, and identify the main point as the first sentence in your summary. So in this case, we're writing an article summary. So you need to identify the title of the article, identify the author of the article, and identify his or her thesis statement. And so here's an example of the beginning of my Brian Greene summary. Input a little science in your life. Brian Greene shows that our educational system fails to teach science in a way that allows students to integrate it into their lives. And don't forget, you're a reporter. Stick to the facts, tell the whole story, otherwise you'll be accused of cherry picking. Organize your ideas carefully and remain unbiased. After you've finished your summary, I want you to go back and look at it and examine it carefully. Reread the summary out loud. See if you can hear any places where it's awkward or confusing. Review the original source. Go back and reread quickly the original source and look at your summary in light of the original source. Did you report all the facts from the original? Did you organize your material so that your reader could understand it clearly? And did you remain like a reporter, unbiased and objective? If you do these things, I know that you can write excellent, excellent academic summaries.